Hi everybody, my name is Rupa, working as Assistant Professor in Chevron Engineering College in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I'm dealing the subject renewable energy sources, and today's topic is advantages and disadvantages of Darier's rotor. First, we will see the advantages of Darier's rotor. So, advantages of such WEC systems, wind energy conversion systems are: the first one is the major advantage of this design is that these rotor blades, they can accept the wind from any directions, from any compass. Compass means here they mean that directions. Okay, so from any directions they can work. If the wind is in northwest or southeast or east west, whatever the direction of the wind will be, this will be working, this apparatus will be working. So this is the major advantage of when compared to all the devices, this is the major advantage of this Darier's rotor. And second one, these are mounted on grounds. Okay, so other added advantage for this is the machine, this entire machine can be mounted on the ground. So we can eliminate the tower structures and lifting of huge weight on machines assembly. Okay, so because it can operate close to the ground levels, the tower structure which is situated from the ground will be reduced. Okay, so the tower cost reduces means the wind variations of wind, whatever the variations of wind are coming, these can be okay, these can be fulfilled for the operation of this equipment. And we have to lift the huge weight, nothing but some gearboxes and blades, these are considered as the huge blades, and the lifting process of this huge blades is also eliminated here. Okay, and second one is it eliminates the yaw control requirement. Okay, so as this machine is having vertical axis symmetry, because of this vertical axis symmetry only it is eliminating the yaw control requirement. Okay, so this yaw control requirement is needed where we have to track the wind's energy, wind speed, and we have to adjust the whole equipment with the attainable wind speed. So this is called as yaw control. So as this is working on the vertical axis symmetry, it is eliminating this yaw control requirement. And a dual purpose and relatively simple shaft axis support is anticipated here, as well as ground level power is taken for output delivery. And due to the presence of the vertical shaft, these are all done. So this may in turn allow easier access, and serviceability also will also be easy. And next advantage is fourth one, this is airfoil rotor fabrication cost will be less. Okay, so these are expected to be reduced over conventional rotor blades costs. So when compared to other horizontal axis turbines, or when compared to other conventional rotor blades, this will be somewhat less expensive. Okay, next fifth one is pitch control requirements are absent, so cost will be reducing automatically. So the absence of pitch control requirements for synchronous operations may yield additional cost savings. Next, last one is TSR and power coefficient are better. Okay, so the tip speed TSR means tip speed ratio, and power coefficient nothing but efficiency of the machine. These are considerably better than those of S rotor. That means Darier's rotor is more efficient, and the tip speed ratio will be increasing when compared to Savion's rotors. Okay, but these values are actually Savion's rotor is only having low power coefficients of low power coefficients and TSR values. So when compared to that, these are having high. So, but overall, when comparison, these are still below the values for a modern horizontal two-blade propeller rotor only. Okay, so this will not be better than horizontal axis. Okay, though it is better than Savier's rotor, it is not quite better than the horizontal axis machines. So these are the advantages of Darius rotor over Savier's or some vertical conventional rotor blades. Next, we will see the disadvantages. See, first one is it requires external mechanical aid for startup. Okay, so although we are seeing this Garrier machine has many directional symmetry for wind energy captures, it requires a external mechanical aid for startup. Because what are we going, the tests going on indicate that with small machines, the problem can be solved by attaching a S rotors. S rotors means here Savianus rotors at the top of the bottom of the vertical axis. So the external machines mechanical aid means here we are taking Savianus rotor S rotors at the top and bottom of the vertical axis. Okay. So this equipment, this fitting of this S-type rotor, it is not appearing to be good for the large machines. Okay, so it is nothing but it is not, we have to say it is not feasible with the large machines. But for the large machines, if the wind power system is connected to the utility grid, the generator can serve as a motor to start the turbines. Okay, so this can termed be as an advantage in this disadvantage. What is that advantage means? If the wind power system is directly connected to the utility grids, okay, so this generator which is moving, this can be serving as a motor. That means this can be serving as an external mechanical unit for starting up this Garrier's rotors. Okay, so the alternating current load which is provided, it is a means of controlling the speed of the rotor. Regardless of the wind speed, it controls the speed of the rotor. Okay, so for this we do not need variable pitch blades. Okay, at very high speed scaling occurs and rotation stops automatically. When you are going at high speed, scaling means some vibrations. Scaling means from vibrations in the wind blades will be occurring, and these vibrations cause the machine to stop automatically. Second one, power output efficiency is low. Okay, so the rotor power output efficiency of a Garrier's wind energy conversion system is also somewhat lower than that of conventional horizontal rotors. Okay, next, third one is it has low velocity wind. Okay, so this is arising due to the situation, uh, due to Darius rotor is generally situated near the ground levels. This disadvantage is occurring to us because as we increase the altitude of the air, altitude of the earth, we are getting more speeds of air, more speeds of wind. Okay, so as we go up to the atmosphere, the wind speed will be increasing. Okay, so because this Darius rotor, these are situated near the ground proximity, it is experiencing very lower velocity wind compared to the tower mounted conventional wind energy systems. Okay, so if you take a long tower and keep it at the high altitude of the earth, we are getting high wind speeds. Okay, because as the obstructions are there at the ground level, we cannot go up to the high velocities of winds. Due to the ground level situation, we are getting low velocity winds here. Okay, so this low velocity wind, this leads to the less energy outputs in advance. Next, fourth one, vibration stresses are highly encountered here. So because of the Galileo's rotor, these encounters greatly varied local flow conditions per revolution. Because we are situating them at ground levels, these are having a large variations local flow conditions. Okay, so these create greater vibration stresses. This will be these vibratory stresses will affect rotor system life. Okay, high tension cables are used at the down of the tower shaft. These are used for reducing these vibration stresses, but these are required large extensive bearing for supports. Okay, so though we are using some high tension cables to reduce these vibration stresses, these high tension cables these require large bearing supports at the down. Okay. Next one, last disadvantage is special high torque braking system must be incorporated. So finally, since a Darius rotor cannot be aired out of wind or its blade should be feathered and these should be having high special torque braking system. Okay, so because of not yarning system is there in this Darius rotor, we have to encounter this special high torque braking system. These are the disadvantages of Darius rotor. And we will see now other what are the other types of vertical axis rotors. So other types of vertical axis rotors are Magnus effect rotors. One of the other type of vertical axis rotors are these Magnus effect rotors. These consist of spinning cylinders. Okay, the cylinder will be spinning overall. This concept, this first demonstrated by this concept is or principle is first demonstrated by it is started experimentally by Magnus in 1912 year. Okay, so principle means when the cylinders spin in a wind stream, these are translating. These are they are some translating forces. These translation forces these are produced perpendicular to the wind stream by the Magnus effect. Okay, so this is the Magnus effect. So when the cylindrical part, this one is cylindrical surface is spinning, we are getting some translation forces. These are translation forces which are produced perpendicular to the stream, wind stream. This is the wind stream. These are produced. This, this is considered as horizontal, this wind stream, and these are produced perpendicular to the wind stream. What are these means? Translation forces. So this device, such a device can be used as a sail to propel ships or land vehicles. Okay. This one. So this device can be used as a sail or a propeller ship or land vehicles. Okay. So as a cylinder spins, this will be moving, and the moving electric generator is driven by the carriage wheels here. Thus, moving forces produces generation. So when a stationary horizontal cylinder is rotated about its axis in a crosswind, the wind is flowing like this. This is termed as a crosswind. So when this cylindrical horizontal cylinder is rotating about its axis, it will experience a lift force. Okay, it will be experiencing a lift force. This effect is equally applicable to the vertical cylinder being rotated about its axis in a crosswinds. Okay, so because of this rotations, this will experience a force perpendicular to the axis which cause it to move in the direction essentially perpendicular to that of the wind. Okay, so this concept consists of several tall vertical cylinders. This vertical cylinder will be very tall, and these will be rotating about their axis in the presence of the wind. So the resultant of the lift and drag forces, the resultant of the lift and drag forces, they result more in the direction of the lift because the lift forces are more, because its larger value propeller, the cylinders are horizontal along the track. Because these cylinders are placed are horizontal along the track, these lift forces will be more than the drag forces, and the resultant force will be in this direction. So perpendicular, this resultant force will also be in vertical, in perpendicular to the wind's direction. So the resultant force will be compulsory in perpendicular to the wind's direction, because as it is equal to the lift forces. Because lift forces are perpendicular, the resultant force will also be as the lift force. Okay, so these are the various types of vertical and horizontal machines. We are horizontal wind turbines we are using overall. Okay, so next topic is generating systems, or sorry, generating stations or systems. So we are using this wind energy and we are generating electricity. Okay, so this generating system is generating a power through wind electric systems. Okay, so this wind electric system, when it directly coupled to the generator, and it gives electricity, and that electricity is transferred to the regions where it is required. So how this will be transferred, and how you are getting, and what are the different types of schemes of electric generation in this, and what are the different types of machines we are using here, synchronous generator, induction generator, like this, and how it is transmitted through the grid, we are studying now. Okay, so first we will know the basics of generating system. So introduction. The basic components of the wind electric conversion system are shown in this figure. See, these are the components of wind electric system. These are the basic components of wind energy conversion system. Okay, so we are having wind turbine, air control. Through air control, it is sent to gearing or coupling equipment. After that, it is sent to the generator, and after that, by using some controllers, that controlled and electricity is given to the utility grid finally. Okay, so aero turbines, these convert wind energy into rotatory mechanical energy. Okay, so what is the function of aero turbines? These converts wind energy to rotatory mechanical energy. So a mechanical interference is consisting of step up gear, and it is having, second one, it is having a suitable coupling transmitter. This transmits the energy to the electrical generator. Okay, so after getting to the electrical generator, this output of the generator, it is connected to the load or system. Okay. So this controller senses the wind direction. These controllers, what we are taking in this system, these senses the wind direction, and wind speed and power output of the generator and other necessary performance quantities of the system. Okay, so these are all controlled and censored by the controller sensors, and these senses these wind directions, wind speeds, power output of the generator, and also other necessary performance quantities, and this initiates appropriate control signals to take suitable corrective actions. Okay, so this is the main system what we are using in this, and this is capable of producing or initiating appropriate control signals. So this system, overall system, should be protected from excessive temperature rise of the generator and electrical faults and extra wind conditions. Okay, so this should be protected from, first one is excessive temperature of the generator, rise in the generator, and second one is electrical faults, and third one is extra wind conditions. Okay, so this choice of the electric generator, it is decided by three methods. Okay, so the choice of the electrical generator and control method to be employed can be decided by considering these three factors. First one is the basic operation, that is either constant tip speed or constant tip speed ratio. Okay, so whatever we are choosing, constant tip speed or constant tip speed ratio, based on this we have to take the generators. And second one is wind power rating of the turbines. Okay, so the what is the power rating of the turbine? Depending on the rating of the turbine, we have to take. And the third one is the type of load demand. For example, battery condition like that. Battery connections like that, we have to take. So wind power ratings can also be divided into three convenient groups. First one is small. Okay, so this small, it is up to 1 kilowatts, we call it as small, and up to 50 kilowatts we are calling it as medium, and up to 200 kilowatts to some megawatts frame size we are calling it as large. Okay, so what are the electrical generators applicable to each of these small, medium, large generators, we will discuss now. First one is small. So for this small, we can take what are the types of electrical generators means permanent, magnet, and DC generators. We can choose for small, and for medium, permanent magnet, DC generators, induction generators, and synchronous generators. So all the generators, available types of all the generators can be taken for the choose for the medium. And next, large, induction generators or synchronous generators. Only these two, permanent and DC generators, can be eliminated in this large, will be eliminated in this large. Okay, so this electrical control strategy employed for any particular scheme can be designed to affect the control of the generator or the power transmission link or the loads. Okay, next, what are the schemes of electric generation? What are the types of the electric generation we will see? So these are the schemes of electrical generation. These several schemes for electric generation have been developed. These schemes can be broadly classified under three categories. First one is constant speed, constant frequency systems. It is denoted by CSCF. Okay, so if you take constant speed, we are having only one variable, frequency, constant frequency. Okay, so for constant speed only one we are having constant frequency systems, and next for variables speed, we are having two variables. What is this? Is first one is of constant frequency and second one is of variable frequency. So these are the abbreviations denoted by CSCF, VSCF, VSVF. Okay. So if you see first one, constant speed, constant frequency systems. What are the user generators we have to see now? So first one is constant speed drive. It has been used for large generators connected directly to the grid. Okay, so here we are using constant frequency system for these large grid generators. And what are the various generators used for this large means? We are using two types of generators. What are these? Synchronous and induction generators. Okay, so we will see them. So first one is synchronous generator. So for such machines, these require, the requirement is of constant speed. It is very rigid and this is only the minor fluctuations, about 1% of short durations. Short durations means fraction of seconds only. So only this type of short durations, minor fluctuations of about 1%, these should be allowed. Okay, so synchronization of wind driven generators with proper grid are also having problems with these gusty winds. Okay, so what are the advantage or disadvantages means? This can be used for large machines, and what are the disadvantages means? These are allowing only minor fluctuations of about 1% fraction of seconds, and these are also having problems with the gusty wind. And second type of generator, yeah, if you go for if you are opting some induction generators, this is done if the stator of the induction machine is connected to the power grid, stator is connected to the power grid, and rotor is driven at synchronous speed. You know that synchronous speed ns is equal to 120 f by p. Okay, so if rotor is rotating at synchronous speed, the machine becomes a generator. If the connection is like this, the machine will be changing to a generator. What is it means? Stator is connected to the power grid and rotor is running with the speed of synchronous speeds. Okay, so if this machine is becoming a generator like this, it is delivering constant line frequency power to the grid. Okay, so here if you take the synchronous speed formula 120 f by p, ns is equal to, we know that 120 f by p. In that, f is the line frequency and p is the number of poles for which the stator winding is made. Okay, so this, if you work this, if you connect this as this stator to the power grid and rotor rotating with synchronous speed, this will be acting as a generator and it is delivering a constant line frequency power to the grid. Okay, so the per unit slip at that time is 0 and 0.05. It will be oscillating between 0 and 0.05. And the output of the wind driven induction generator, it is uniquely determined by the operating speed only. Okay, and next the pull out torque Tm, it is denoted by Tm. This should not be exceeded. This pull out torque should not be exceeded. Beyond it, it should not go beyond Tm, pull out torque. So when this happens, if you go beyond the Tm, the speed continues to increase and the system may run away. That means break in. The torque speed characteristics of the induction motor are shown in this These are the torque slip characteristics of the induction motor. So as we discussed in before classes, in before chapters only, these torque slip characteristics are there. Okay. So these induction generators, these are basically simpler than synchronous generators. If you compare the induction generators with the synchronous generators, these are simple. And these can be operated and controlled and maintained at easy ways only, because these are not having any synchronization problems in this, because induction generators are not having any synchronization problems. We can um, easy we can operate easily and control easily and maintain easily. And these induction generators will be drawing their excitation from the grid, and this impose reactive volt amperes button on them. As they draw their excitation from the grid, they impose reactive volt amperes button. So for this problem, overall problem, we can use static capacitors to overcome this problem. Okay, if you use static problems, this excitation drawing from the grid will be stopped. Okay, next, second one is variable speed constant frequency scheme. Okay, so variable speed constant frequency scheme, this is VSCF. This is used for typically for most small wind generators, which are used in autonomous applications, generally producing where they are producing variable frequency and variable output voltage. At that time, these are used for small wind generators. So the variable speed operation of electricity system is yielding higher output for both low and high speed wind speeds. Okay, so this is having higher outputs for both low and high speed winds. So this results in higher annual energy yields per rated installed kilowatts capacities. Okay. So both horizontal axis and vertical axis turbines will be exhibiting this gain under variable speed operations. So the popular schemes to obtain constant frequency output are discussed below. The first one is AC DC AC link. The first link is AC DC AC. So this is the block diagram of AC DC AC link wind electric system. So we are using here high power thyristors and high voltage DC transmission systems and AC output of three-phase alternator. This is rectified using a bridge rectifier and then converted back to AC using some line commutator inverters. Okay, so first we are using high thyristors, high power thyristors and high voltage DC transmission systems. And here AC output power, the AC output power of three-phase alternator. It is rectified using a bridge rectifier. So the AC output is rectified using a bridge rectifier. And then it is converted back again to AC using line commutator inverters. So this utilize an AC source. Okay. So this will be using some AC power lines. These periodically reverse their polarity and causes the commutation to occur naturally. Actually, commutation means the changing of polarity. So as we are using here AC source, this will be periodically reversing the polarity, which is causing commutation naturally. Okay, so the commutation process is going on naturally using this AC source. So since frequency is automatically fixed by the power lines, what we are getting the power lines, this is dependable. This frequency is dependable on the power lines only. This frequency is automatically fixed by the power line. So they are also known as synchronous. We can also call them as synchronous inverters. Okay. Next type is double output induction generators. Okay. So see, if you see this, in this system, a slip ring induction motor is used. Okay. Slip ring induction motor is used. If you see in the figure, we can know. And the rotor power output at the slip frequency, it is converted to line frequency. Okay. So the output rotor power at the slip frequency, we are getting it at slip frequency, and it is converted to the line frequency power by rectification and inversion process. Output power is obtained from both stator and rotor. So as the output is, we are getting the output from both the stator and rotor, we are calling this device as double output induction generator. Okay, rectified and inversion of output is there here. Rectified and inversion process. Okay, so the rotor output power has an electrical equivalence of additional impedance in the rotor circuits, and therefore this increase the rotor output leads to the increasing slips, and these increasing high slips will be giving higher speeds. So such an operation increases the operating speed range from ns to 2ns. Okay, so the synchronous speed will be doubling here. That is, the slip will be varying from minimum to maximum conditions from 0 to 1.0. Okay, the minimum is 0 slip and the maximum is 1. Okay, so the slip speed will be from minimum 0 to maximum 1. Okay, and the third one is AC commutation generators. Okay, so the third type is, first one is AC-DC link, and second one is double output induction generator, and third one is AC commutation generators. Okay, so the third one, AC commutation generators, means here this system is also known as Scabbius system. This employs two polyphase windings in the stator. In the stator, we are having two polyphase windings, and in the rotor, we are having a commutator windings. Okay, so the basic problem in employing this device is the wind energy conversions are costlier and additional maintenance is required. Okay, so this additional maintenance is required by the commutator and the brush gear. Okay, and third type is variable speed, variable frequency scheme. So this we will discuss after further classes.